Hi everyone, welcome back to the Visual Builder Cloud Service online course. In this video, we are going to look at the variables, what is variables, different scope of variables, and how to fetch logged in user details on a web page. Variables. A variable is the basic building block for managing client state. It is of a specific type and exists in a specific scope. Every variable which you create inside the VBCS application is used to hold some data. The variable is the same as we create variables in other technology like Java, PHP, .NET, and any other to hold that data. Similarly, you can create variables under VBCS application to hold the data. A variables type can be primitive, which is used to hold like a string, date, integer, Boolean variable. It can be a structured type, which can consist of other types, like it is an object type, which holds the complex data, a dynamic type, or a built-in type. So these variable can be of these types. The initial value of a variable is determined using the default value property set on the variable along with its type. If you create a variable inside the VBCS application, and if you wanted to initialize the default value, there's a default value property of each and every variable which you can use to initialize the default value of a variable, and you can use it wherever you want. Various scope variables. We have different variables like page variable, which is a page scope variable. State is accessible only within the context of the specified page. Whenever you create a variable inside a page, the variable is visible inside the page only, and this is limited within the page. Outside the page, you cannot access the variable. All state is initialized with the default values when the page is entered and destroyed when the page is exited. Application scope. State is accessible in all parts of the application and in all pages or flows. If you have created a variable at the application level, then this variable will be accessible throughout the application, whether it is the page level, the flow level, or the action chain level. You can use this variable everywhere in the application. So this is the highest scope available in the VBCS. Another scope is flow scope. State is accessible in all pages contained in the current flow. In VBCS, you create different flows, and under flow, you create different pages. If you have created a variable under flow and there are 3 pages inside the flow, then this variable will be accessible throughout all the pages inside the flow. You can change the state of the variable in each and every page, and you can use it in another page inside the flow. Another is action chain scope. You can create variable under action chain as well, but the scope is limited to the action only. So state is accessible in the current action chain. Fetch logged in user details. Every page, chain, flow, etc. can get the logged in user detail in the VBCS. If you have a requirement to get the logged in user email ID or the username or the name, right, you have a option to get the logged in user detail inside the VBCS page or flow or the chain. So the logged in user detail can be fetched using the application context variable. So there's a variable called application variable, which you can use to access the logged in user details. I will show you how. So let's get started and try to create different type of variable within a different scope and try to fetch the logged in user details using the application object. So for this, I will log in into the VBCS application, and I will use this SFDC extension application to show you how to create variable inside application the flow and then page. In order to create a variable at the application level, just click on the application. Click on the application and go to this variable section. You can create variables, you can create the types. In order to create a variable, click on this variables tab and click on a plus variable. And here you can say application var. The type can be primitive type, or it can be of providers type, or it can be of object type. Let's try to create this of string type and then create. So this variable is created at application level. If you wanted to create a variable at the flow level, just select the particular flow on which you wanted to create a variable. Select this flow and then again click on the variables. Again, you can create a variables or a type. Click on a variable and here you can say flow var and then create. If you want, this is the flow variable, and this flow variable will be accessible inside both the pages which is under main flow. And this variable will be accessible under each and every flow. Okay, just try to create a variable inside the detail page. So for this, click on a page and then again click on the variables and create a variable here. Say page var and then create. Go to the designer of this particular page and then see, just try to bind this heading with the different variable and see. Click on this heading and then go to the text and then click on this expression. And here you can see you have the page scope, flow scope, and then application scope. You can create the variables directly from here as well. If you click on a create variable against the page, it will be created at the page level. Create variable, it will create the variable inside flow. It will create the variable inside application. Here you can see the application var inside the application object, because we have created this inside the application. This flow variable is inside the flow, and here page variable. You can fetch all these three variables here in the page, because this variable is created inside the flow, this variable is created inside the application level, and this is created inside the page level. Open the different page here and just try to put a heading here again and see. Let the page to be loaded. Okay, let's just try to put a heading here again, just above the table, and then here just select this, and here you don't see the page variable because the page variable is created inside the detail page. But you can see the flow variable, you can see the application variable as well. Okay, just try to create another flow by just clicking on this, another flow, create. So here a page has been created. Open this and then try to put a heading here and see what all variables can be accessed here. Here you can see the page variable cannot be accessed, the flow variable can't be accessed, and only the application variable you can access here, because this flow variable which we have created was the inside the main flow, hence it is not accessible outside the flow. Okay, so this is how you can create variable and are accessible in different scopes. Another thing, we have created a variable here, and if you wanted to use the default value, create the default value, you can enter the value here like default value, something like this, default data, and this will be the default value of this particular variable which can be used. Okay, now another thing I wanted to show how to fetch the logged in user details. For this I will create a page, credentials, and then create. Here I just put a heading here and I will change the text logged in user details. Okay, I'll just make some input text here, 1, 2, and 3. I wanted to fetch 3 details of a user. One is the email address. Second is the username. And third is the full name. Let's just try to bind all these 3 variables. Select this, go to the data section and then use this select variable. Here you see the application, right? Go to the application scope and expand this system. Under system, you have a variable called user. And under user, you will see the logged in user detail, like the email, full name is authenticated, permissions, roles, user ID, and then username. If you wanted to fetch the user, just the email address, just use this email. Username, similarly, system, user, and then username. The username, if your username is same, it will have the same value. Try to use the full name here, and then system, and then user, and then full name. Here you can see the full name also. So this is how you can fetch the logged in user detail. If you will log in with different user, then the details will be different. Let me just copy this and open the different browser, Chrome browser, and will enter it. Here you see I have logged in with different user, and you can see the details are totally different. So this is how you can fetch logged in user detail inside the VBCS application. So that's all for this video. If you have any question, let me know. Thanks. Bye-bye.